Hey guys, it's Miss Reyes, and I kid you not, this is literally like the fourth or fifth time that I've recorded this. Anyways, so I am uploading this video so that you guys can finish up that packet that I got assigned to you guys yesterday. So that means you guys are probably a little bit further ahead than where I'm starting, because I am going to start from the very beginning to make sure that anybody and everybody can complete this assignment. So whether you're working from home or whether you're working from school and you've already started it, if you've already started it, just go ahead and skip ahead. All right, I know you guys know how to do that. So you can skip ahead to the part of the video where you need the rest of the information from, but this packet is going to be due at the end of the class period. So you need to turn that into your sub, okay? Your sub's gonna collect them and your sub will give them to me and I will grade them. This is a 20-point assignment, so it's a pretty hefty chunk. You guys should definitely be doing this work because Ms. Reyes is holding your hand throughout the whole thing, right? This is an opportunity for me to give you some extra bonus or some extra points so that maybe we can make your grade beef up a little bit before report cards come out next week or the week after next week. So I will be back tomorrow on Friday. And yes, I do miss you guys, but like I said, it's not that long. We'll come back. So without further ado, let's get to work. So please notice that I have put my name in that name spot over here. It's not focusing. It won't focus. Why isn't it focusing? There we go. Okay, so make sure you put your name on there because you're turning it into the sub and I don't want no name papers, okay? So question number one, we are talking about pyramids here. We have food pyramids, right? And we just talked about these because we completed the food webs assignment. And we had energy pyramids there. And hopefully you guys remember that 10% rule, right? That 10% of energy is only going to move up the trophic level. So we start out with 100% energy down here with our producers, and our producers get 100% energy because they literally make their own food. So yeah, they get to keep 100% of the energy. But then as we go up to the next trophic level loses so much of that original energy, loses almost 90% of that energy. And so this is much less energy in this trophic level. And then the same for every step above it, okay? So this is helping us to display the movement of energy, which means for question number one, which asks, give a reasonable explanation as to why energy is represented in a pyramid shape. Well, the answer is because it represents the amounts of energy within each trophic level. All right, so as we said, this pyramid is going to help us to represent the amount of energy that exists within each trophic level. So we have a lot of energy down here and a lot less energy up here, but we still have a lot more energy here than we have up here. And same thing for our last consumer up here at the tippy top. He's got way less energy than this grass down here, right? So that pyramid's definitely going to help us to explain how energy is actually moving up that pyramid. So question number two, what process does the grass use to harness the energy? How does the grass make its own food, right? So that is going to happen through a process called photosynthesis. And photosynthesis, if we break it down, so photo means light. So think of like the photo that you take on your camera and you get a flash of light, right? Photo. Well, photo in this sense is going to refer to the sunlight, right? So we know that plants need sunlight to live. So we have photo here, and then synthesis means that we're going to be making something. We're going to be synthesizing something. So we are taking light and we are making it into something. And that something is energy. All right, so question number three, what can be assumed about the amount of producers, so the number of producers and pyramids A and B based on the amount of sunlight hitting the earth in each pyramid. So let's take a look at the amount of sunlight hitting each pyramid. So the sunlight, light is literally energy in and of itself. So in pyramid A, we have 32,500,000 kcals of energy being given to us by the sun. Let's compare that to pyramid B. So pyramid B only has 12,500,000. I say only as if that's a little, but it's definitely less than pyramid A, right? So we can hypothesize that the producer population will be higher in pyramid. Which pyramid, guys? A or B? You tell me. Okay, you guys choose one. Tell me which one. Is it going to be higher in A or is it going to be higher in B? You tell me. You fill that part out, okay? All right, so question number 4. In the table below, calculate the percentage of energy that is transferred from one level of the pyramid to another for all the levels. So for pyramid A, it asks us to calculate the percent of energy transferred from sunlight to producers. So I am going to break out my handy dandy little calculator, which is actually my cell phone. So we can calculate this information, but we're going to need a little bit from that pyramid to answer. So percentage of energy transferred from sunlight to producers. We need to figure out how much energy is making it to our producers. So we can go back up here and we already have these numbers, right? We need to actually figure out whether it's 10% or not. So what we need to do is take the producers, which they have 2,800,000. 800,000, that right? Yeah, that's right. And then we are going to divide that by the amount of energy that the sun is giving us. So 32,500,000. That's a big number, y'all. Okay. And that gives us 0.0861. But that's not a percent. That's a decimal. So what we can do with the calculator, since we have it out, is we can just multiply by 100. If you don't have your calculator, you can go ahead and move the decimal point over 2 spots. But our percent, whether we multiply by 100 or we just move the decimal point, is still going to be 8.6. And we'll drop the rest of these numbers, okay? So 8.6 is going to go in this first one. 8.6, okay? And that is percent. And I'm just going to write that off to the side since I ran out of room, okay? But I'm going to fill that out for every other one because I do not want to forget to and accidentally drop my label, okay? All right, so let's figure that out for pyramid B, okay? You guys fill that in. Pause the video and fill out pyramid B, okay? We'll continue with pyramid A. So pyramid A, the next one asks us to figure out the percent of energy that's going to be transferred from producers to our primary consumers. So break out that fancy dancy calculator one more time. And for pyramid A, we need to now take the amount of energy that exists in our primary consumers and divide it by the energy from our producers, okay? So our primary consumers, we got our producers here, primary consumer is 450,000 kcals, okay? And then we're going to divide that by the energy from the producers over here, which is 2,800,000. Okay, and we get that. So one more time, you could just move your decimal, or if you have your calculator out, you can just multiply by 100. So that ends up being 0.1%. So 16.1%. Okay, you guys fill that out for B. Now this one over here, energy transferred from primary to secondary consumers. So we're going to take our secondary consumers amount of energy and we are going to divide that by the primary. Okay, so we need to take the secondary consumer, which is our warthog here. He has 50,000. And we're going to divide that by our primary consumer who has 450,000. Whoops. 450,000. You guys can definitely tell him at school, right? Okay, so once again, you can move that decimal place over, or you can just multiply by 100, and that ends up being 11.1%. So we will put 11.1, okay? All right, moving on to the next one, we have tertiary consumers, and we need to divide that by secondary consumers, the energy from the secondary consumer. So our tertiary consumer is this line up here, and that line has 2,500 calories. So 2,500. We need to divide that by the secondary. So that's our warthog, and he has 50,000. So divide by 50,000, right? We get a decimal. We could just move that over 2 spots, or we can multiply by 100 because it's easy and we got our calculator out, which turns out to be about 5%. All right, so you guys should definitely pause that video and finish out pyramid B. However, I will mention that take a look at pyramid B. We only have 2 trophic levels who exist here, right? Now we know the 10% rule exists. However, we can't really fill out these last 2, our secondary consumer and our tertiary consumer. And that is because if you look at these numbers, is that 10%? No, it's not, right? So we can't just assume that only 10% is increasing here. So we are not able to fill out these last 2 boxes for pyramid B, but you guys can definitely fill out these first 2, okay? All right, so the last part asks, what is the average energy that is transferred? So in order for us to get that average energy, we're gonna have to take our calculator out again, and we are gonna add all these numbers together. So 8.6 plus 16.1 plus 11.1 plus 5 equals 40.8. All right. However, we need to get the average, right? This is just our percentages added up. We need to get the average. So we added up how many numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we need to divide by 4. And our average ends up being 10.2%, which brings us back to that 10% rule. So you need to calculate that for pyramid B. I believe in you. You can do it. I'm going to let you do it. But you guys pause the video and calculate that for B. So now that you guys have figured out what pyramid B's percent should be, you should definitely be able to see that that 10% rules exists, right? It didn't just disappear out of nowhere, but it exists because it is the average energy that gets transferred up each trophic level. So it's right, even though we don't necessarily see that happening exactly in the levels in between. But we still have that 10%, okay? That 10% rule still stands. All right, so we can move on to question number 5 here. All right, so describe the energy transfer among the organisms in the pyramid. Use the percentage data to support your answer. So, like we said, each of these individual levels isn't exactly 10%, but our average definitely is. So we can say that while each trophic level keeps a different percent of energy, we calculated that, and I emphasize on average, okay, on average, only 10% of energy is kept. All right, so like I said, on average, our 10% energy stands. It's not an exact number, it is an average number, okay? All right, so moving on to 5A, you may have noticed the averages of energy transferred to each level are around 10%. We call this the 10% rule. In Pyramid B, assume a lion has consumed a young elephant. How many kilocalories would be passed using this rule? So we need to go back to Pyramid B. Whoop, there we are. So as our question said, a lion consumed an elephant. So here's our elephant, which means our lion goes here, right? Our lion goes here, and that makes him a what level of consumer? A secondary level of consumer. So he's a secondary consumer. Now we need to figure out using the 10% rule, how much energy actually made it up to this lion. So now we can actually take our decimal place and move it over 1, 2 spots. And our new number is 1,300. So our lion only got to keep 1,300 calories. And that is actually our answer. So we can bump that back over here. And our lion kept 1,300. And don't forget to put your label, kcals. Okay? 1,300 kcals. All right. So let's flip the page and keep working. Here we go. Okay, so question number 6. Explain why the top carnivores, such as lions, are always smaller than the population. So population means number of animals or number of organisms of herbivores, such as grasshoppers, or omnivores like warthogs. Why are the lion populations always smaller than the population of herbivores? So again, if we look at that pyramid structure, right, it speaks to the amount of energy that exists. So we can say that because of the 10% rule, only very little energy is remaining as you go up trophic levels. So very little energy remains as you go up the trophic levels. And if we take our pyramid up here, here we have a huge chunk. Here we have a teeny tiny chunk, right? So that means that our energy is limited up here. And that means that because our energy is limited, this is also going to limit population. And I accidentally dropped my plural there. So this limits population, okay? This is going to limit population. Therefore, we're going to have very few lions compared to how many herbivores, such as giraffes or elephants or whatever we've been talking about, okay? All right, so question number 7. The word trophic refers to feeding or nutrition. Therefore, each level in the pyramid of energy is a trophic level. There can be many species in one level. So these questions list 3 other species that would be in the same trophic level as the grasshopper. So a grasshopper, what does a grasshopper eat? He eats like grass, right? It's in the name. He eats grass, he eats plants. So who else eats plants? Tell me what trophic level that is. So first of all, what's that trophic level? What's that trophic level? Then tell me who else might exist in that trophic level, okay? So pause the video and fill this part out. All right, now that you've filled out 7A, let's go to 7B. List 3 other species that would be in the same trophic level as the warthog. So first of all, what trophic level is our warthog in? Our warthog is probably going to eat things like plants, maybe some small animals, right? So who else might exist in that same trophic level? So first of all, tell me what trophic level, and then tell me who else might exist. And I need 3, okay? So pause the video and fill this part out. Okay, moving on to question number 8. Explain why the elephant's diet is considered a more energy efficient diet than the lion's diet. Use data from Pyramid A and Pyramid B to support your answer. So we kind of messed up a little bit here because we didn't really leave you a spot to answer. So guess what? I'm going to drop this down here, okay, and we're going to write our answer here. So why would the elephant's diet be considered a more energy efficient diet than the lion's diet? Well, let's take a look at it, right? Let's go back to Pyramid A and B. Okay, so Pyramid A, here we see that our elephant is going to get 130,000 kcals. Our lion only gets 1,300. So we can definitely say that the elephant is going to be more successful in getting energy than our lion. Okay, actually I used the wrong number, so it should be this 2,500 because our lion really truly exists up here. So our elephant keeps 130,000 calories while our lion keeps 2,500 calories. Okay, so let's put that into words. The elephant is going to get how many calories? 130,000 kcals. While our lion versus our lion who is going to get how much does he get? 2,500 kcals. Okay. All right. So therefore, we can definitely say that our elephant is going to be more efficient in getting energy because he's got way more energy than our lion. All right. There is our proof. Okay, moving on to the next question. In the pyramid below, place the organisms in the following food chain in the proper trophic level. So I kind of covered it up a little, my bad, y'all. But here we have grass, we have an elephant, and we have a lion. So let's place those. The grass appears to be eaten by the elephant, right? Remember that arrow is going to eat, right? So that arrow's eating our grass. So our grass is going to go here at the bottom, grass. And what's this trophic level called? That's right, he's a producer. So the next one up is going to be our elephant, elephants. So our elephant is a what, guys? That's right, a primary consumer because he eats that grass. And then here, our lion is going to eat our elephant. So our lion's going to go just above the elephant. And what level of what trophic level does he belong to? He belongs to that secondary consumer. Okay. All right, moving on to question 9. In the table below, calculate the percentage of energy that is transferred from one level of pyramid C to another for all the levels. So, percent of energy transferred from sunlight to producers. Well, let's figure it out. Here's my handy dandy calculator again. And if my dad would stop sending me TikToks, that would be nice, but well, we can't ask for too much, right? Anyways, he's like 60, y'all. But anyways, percentage of energy transferred from sunlight to producers. So here we have our sunlight, and we need to figure out what's getting transferred to the producers. So same sort of process as we did on the last page. So we need to take our producers, how much energy our producer has, which is 1,100, whoops, one too many ones, 1,100 oh, sorry, 1,100,000. And then we need to divide that by the sunlight energy. So divided by 11,900,000. Those are big, big numbers, guys. Okay, then we come out with a decimal and we need to multiply that by 100 since we already have our calculator out, right? Or you can move the decimal. And we have 9.24%, but we're going to drop that 4, so 9.2%. And do not forget your labels, guys. If you need to jump ahead and fill in those labels, go right ahead, guys. I'm not going to care. Okay, so percent. And I did it myself, so why not do it yourself? Okay. So now we need to figure out the percentage of energy that's transferred from producers to primary consumers. So we're going to start with the amount of energy in the primary consumers, which is our elephant here. And so let me clear that out. We have 130,000. And we need to now divide that by our producers. So our producer has 1,100,000. And we get that number, and then we need to multiply by 100, and we get 11.8%. So 11.8%. The last one over here asks us to figure out the percentage of energy transferred from primary to secondary consumers. So we start out with the amount of energy that our secondary consumer has, which would be 11,000. And we would divide that by our primary consumer, which would be that elephant there. So 130,000. We get a decimal, and then we need to multiply that by 100 so we can get our percent. And we get 8.46. So we'll round that up to 8.5, okay? 8.5%. Now, you guys need to add this all up. Okay, and then you need to divide it by 3 because we have added 3 numbers together, and that will give you the average energy that was transferred. Okay, so you guys go ahead and pause the video and put that into your calculator to get the answer. All right, now that you got that, let's go to the next question. In which pyramid does the lion get the highest percentage of energy? Well, in order to answer that, you're going to need to first of all answer this. So once you get that, you need to compare which pyramids is he going to get the highest percentage of energy? The lion specifically. Oh, wait, let me backtrack a little. So our lion is going to need to get the biggest percentage of energy. So our lion in this one is going to be getting 8.5%. Okay. Let's go back to the other pyramids because we had 2 others. So for here, for pyramid B, what percentage is our lion getting? Hopefully you have calculated that out for pyramid B, but we've calculated it here in pyramid A. So pyramid A, for this question, our lion is our tertiary consumer. So we're looking at this 5% here. So this is the one that we need to use to answer that question. Whoops. This is the one that we're going to need to use to answer that question. So pyramid A shows that he gets 5%. Pyramid B, whatever number you guys calculated here, that's what he gets. Okay, for pyramid B. And then for pyramid C, that's how much energy he gets. So compared to A, he's definitely getting way more energy in pyramid C. Okay, so you guys fill that out. You should have 2 pyramids. Okay, so it should be pyramid A or B. Okay, and pyramid C, because we definitely know that this one is going to be higher than pyramid A, but we don't know that pyramid B, because we didn't do that. You did it though, but I don't know if pyramid B is higher than pyramid A. You tell me. You fill that out. Okay. All right. The last question on this page, explain why there is a difference in the percentage of energy. Use data to support your answer. So like I said before, I'm really emphasizing that 10% rule is on average. So the 10% rule is on average. So that doesn't necessarily speak to what happens on each individual trophic level. So the 10% rule is on average, not exact. Okay. And exact would mean these exact numbers. These are the exact numbers. We have those exact numbers for the kcals, and we are able to calculate the exact percentages. So our 10% rule is on average. It is not exact. Okay. All righty. Moving on to the next page, guys. We are almost done. We are right there. Okay. I promise. All right, so now that you have traced the pathway of energy through the food chain and up the energy pyramid, let's take a closer look at the processes that enable this energy to pass from one organism to another. So using the diagram below, answer the questions that follow. So let's take a look into this, this diagram here. So this is the process of photosynthesis, okay? What's happening here, we start out with our solar energy. Our solar energy gets put into this process. So we have our sunlight. We start off over here with some carbon dioxide. I know you guys have heard that trees and plants, they take up carbon dioxide. And they do because they need this in order to complete photosynthesis. So we have carbon dioxide and we also require water. So plants require three things: solar energy, water, carbon dioxide. You guys should definitely know that. In order to complete the process of photosynthesis, once we have all three of those things, we end up creating glucose and oxygen. So all of these things exist here, right? We have 1C, but multiplied by 6. So we have 6 C's here. We still have 6 C's over here. We have 2 times 6, which would be 12, right? We have 12 oxygens over here. Over here, we have 6 oxygens, and then once again, 12 here. But wait a second, this H2O is another oxygen, right? So then we have the same amount of oxygen on both sides because we have another 6 here. And now we have hydrogen. Hydrogen is 2 times 6. So in total, we have 12 hydrogens. And over here, we have 12 hydrogens. Okay. So this stuff is literally just getting reorganized, and it gets reorganized into glucose, which is sugar, and oxygen. So our plants are going to produce glucose or sugar and oxygen. Once they do that, they complete a process called cellular respiration. And this is literally the photosynthesis process, but in reverse. So we are going to take that glucose and oxygen, and we are going to turn it into carbon dioxide and water. And that's what's actually happening in your body. So you breathe out carbon dioxide and you also put out water. That's like the sweat, right? So you put out carbon dioxide and water as the result of your cells respiring to create what is called chemical energy. And that chemical energy is known as ATP. So that energy is released as ATP and heat. Okay. So I know it's kind of a complicated little process that's happening there, but we will get a little bit more into depth with that. So question 10, which level on the pyramid is going to perform photosynthesis? So in photosynthesis, we're literally creating energy. So who creates their own energy? I'm going to let you guys fill that in because I know you know the answer. So who is going to create their own energy? Who's going to perform photosynthesis? You guys write that. Pause the video. So question 11, why do they have to perform this process? Why would they have to perform the process, guys? So they need to do photosynthesis because they need to make that energy that goes into our pyramid. So basically we need to take sunlight, we need to turn sunlight into energy, and our form of energy that our sunlight is creating is glucose. So glucose. All right, and in parentheses, I'm going to put AKA energy because glucose is basically energy. All right, question number 12. Once they produce glucose for themselves, what process do they go on to do? So once they produce glucose, what happens? We move this way. We perform cellular respiration. So just write that in, cellular respiration. Okay, question 13. What does this process give plants? What is our cellular respiration process going to give plants? It's going to produce, if we follow this arrow, it's going to produce water and carbon dioxide. But it also puts out chemical energy in the form of ATP and heat. So that's what we're actually looking for. This cellular respiration puts out chemical energy, ATP, and heat. So write that part down. So we need to put ATP, which again is a form of chemical energy, and heat. Okay, that's what's getting produced as a result of cellular respiration. Okay, question 14. Animals like elephants consume these plants. Which of these processes do animals do? Well, are elephants creating their own energy? So do they actually go through photosynthesis? Do elephants take energy from the sun? I'll let you guys answer that, okay? Which process is it going to be? It can only be one of two. It can either be photosynthesis or it can be cellular respiration. Which one is the elephant going to do? You put that in. Pause the video. All right, question 15. Why are they going to have to perform this process? So elephants definitely don't make their own energy. So they're going to have to get it from something else, right? So remember, when we break bonds, we release what? We release energy. So we need to break down glucose. And that glucose, man, oh man, does it have a ton of bonds. We need to break down those glucose bonds in order to release energy. We need to break down glucose to release energy. Alrighty, guys, home stretch. We are almost there. And like, I'm skipping my lunch for y'all. So like, I hope you are appreciative of that. But anyways, because I got a pretty tasty lunch. But anyways. So we need to label the diagram below with the following words: cellular respiration and photosynthesis. So cellular respiration and photosynthesis is going to go on one of these guys, okay? One of these guys is doing cellular respiration. The other one is doing photosynthesis. You guys tell me who's who, okay? Now, the other part that you need to see here is that this arrow is moving in this direction, okay? I know that's kind of hard to see, so let me emphasize that. That arrow is moving in this direction. So which process does the elephant perform? You tell me. You write that in, okay? And then you're going to refer back to this diagram up here. So he produces what? And depending on that arrow, right, it's going to produce one, either this, or he's either going to produce this. So you fill that in. You tell me. Once you figure out what type of energy process he's making, either photosynthesis or cellular respiration, then you need to follow that arrow and either put this or follow this arrow and put that. Okay? The second arrow is coming from this grass over to the elephant. So again, once you figure out what this grass does, whether it's photosynthesis or cellular respiration, you're going to follow that arrow, and then you're going to either put these two things or these two things. Okay. So you need to fill out what process this guy's doing. Okay. Pretend that's like an empty space that you need to fill out. You need to figure out what process this dude is filling. Okay. So you guys write your answers here. Then you need to also put what is happening here. And you also need to put what's happening here. Okay, so you should have either glucose and oxygen, or you should have carbon dioxide and water in either this one or this one. You tell me which, okay? But definitely know that this arrow is coming from the elephant and going to the grass, and that grass is going from, that grass is going to the elephant, okay? So you guys fill that out. I think you guys got that. I think you guys got it, okay? Pause the video and fill it out. All right, now that you guys have that filled in, go to question 16. What type of energy does cellular respiration provide all organisms? What kind of energy does cellular respiration provide? Let's take a look at our diagram. Cellular respiration is moving in this direction. So it's also going to produce ATP. So the answer is ATP. And ATP is a form of chemical energy. So question 17, how do organisms of all kinds obtain this type of energy? So the first thing to know is that photosynthesis specifically is only going to happen in producers. Okay, so producers are the only ones who do photosynthesis. So this question is asking, how do organisms of all kinds obtain the energy? So that includes our elephant, and that also includes whoever else eats the plants, right? So how do organisms obtain all this energy? There's only one or two ways. And if it's not photosynthesis, it obviously has to be cellular respiration. So the answer to this last one is cellular respiration. All right, guys. And that bell that you heard is the bell that from lunch, and I got kids knocking on my door, so I gotta go. But you guys, once you finish this, you turn that into the sub, okay? Bye. I'll see you tomorrow.